Before we dive in, this video takes you on a powerful journey through 10 revealing chapters, uncovering why kindness can sometimes lead to disrespect, how Stoic philosophy offers a path to true strength, and ultimately how reclaiming your self-respect can transform the way the world sees you. Let's get started. The kindness trap, expanded and detailed. Alex was the kind of person everyone relied on. At the office, they were the one who stayed late to help colleagues finish their projects, even when it meant sacrificing their own deadlines. Friends frequently called on Alex for advice, emotional support, or favors, and Alex never said no. They wore their kindness like a badge of honor, believing it to be their greatest strength. But beneath the surface, cracks were forming. One afternoon at work, Alex overheard a conversation that stung. A coworker laughed as they joked about how easy it was to get Alex to take on extra work. "Just flash a smile, and they'll do anything for you," they said, not realizing Alex was within earshot. It was the first time Alex began to question the value of their kindness. That evening, at a dinner party, the pattern repeated. Alex had spent hours helping the host prepare the meal, setting the table, and ensuring everything was perfect. Yet, when the accolades came, the host barely acknowledged Alex's contribution. Worse, they made a passing comment about how Alex was too nice to say no, drawing laughter from the group. Lying in bed that night, Alex couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was wrong. The acts of kindness they thought would earn them goodwill seemed to have the opposite effect. Instead of being appreciated, they felt taken for granted, disrespected even. The next morning, Alex caught their reflection in the mirror. The face staring back looked tired, drained, and unfulfilled. A single question echoed in their mind: when did kindness start to feel like a trap? This was the beginning of Alex's journey, a realization that would force them to confront everything they thought they knew about themselves and the world around them. The mask of approval, expanded and detailed. Kindness had always been Alex's way of navigating the world. As far back as they could remember, being helpful and agreeable seemed like the safest way to ensure acceptance. But after the events of the previous day, Alex began to wonder if their kindness was less about virtue and more about something else entirely, something hidden beneath the surface. At work, the day started like any other. Alex brought coffee for the team, greeted everyone with a warm smile, and jumped in to resolve a tech issue for a colleague, Ernest. As Alex handed the fixed laptop back, Sam, a new hire known for their bluntness, raised an eyebrow. "You really go above and beyond, don't you?" they remarked. There was something in their tone, half admiration, half mockery, that made Alex pause. Later, during lunch, Alex overheard Sam talking to another coworker. "Alex is great, but don't you think they try too hard? It's like they're afraid of upsetting anyone." The words hit like a slap, but they also rang uncomfortably true. That evening, sitting in their dimly lit apartment, Alex began to reflect. Memories surfaced, staying quiet as a child to avoid punishment, volunteering for tasks no one else wanted in school just to avoid being singled out, smiling through discomfort to keep the peace in countless social situations. It was like a film reel of their life played in fast forward, and every scene carried the same theme: fear of rejection. Alex's kindness wasn't just kindness, it was armor, a shield they had forged in the hopes of being liked, accepted, even loved. But now, that armor felt more like a mask, one that was suffocating them. The realization was as painful as it was liberating. If their kindness was a mask, who was the person underneath? And more importantly, could they find the courage to take the mask off? Unsettled but determined, Alex made a quiet vow to uncover the truth about themselves. No matter how uncomfortable the journey might be, this was only the beginning. The first betrayal, expanded and detailed. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of quiet self-reflection and tentative steps toward change. Alex tried to set small boundaries, saying no to extra favors, speaking up more in meetings, but the old patterns clung like shadows. Then came the moment that shattered the fragile progress. It was a Friday afternoon, when Alex discovered the betrayal. They had trusted Jordan, a longtime friend and confidant, implicitly. Jordan had been the one person Alex thought truly understood their struggle with always putting others first. So when Jordan asked for a loan to cover an unexpected expense, Alex didn't hesitate. But that trust was twisted in a way Alex never saw coming. Days later, Alex overheard whispers in the office. Jordan had been boasting about the loan, mocking Alex's generosity and painting it as NVETE. "There's such a pushover, it's almost hilarious," Jordan said to a group of colleagues, laughing without a hint of remorse. Alex's heart sank. The friend they'd confided in, the person they'd thought stood by them, had weaponized their kindness for amusement. The betrayal cut deep, more than any professional slight, more than any dismissive comment. It was personal. In the aftermath, Alex felt exposed and vulnerable. The safety net of kindness they'd built for themselves was unraveling, and with it, their faith in people. That same evening, Alex met with Dr. Irene, their philosophy professor, who had been a quiet but steady presence. "You've been living kindness as sacrifice," she said gently. "But Marcus Aurelius taught us that true kindness comes from strength, not weakness. It's not about giving yourself away, it's about knowing your worth." Her words echoed in Alex's mind as they grappled with the painful lesson. Kindness, when unguarded, can be twisted into a weapon by those who see it as weakness. This was a turning point. Alex realized that if kindness was to remain their strength, it had to be paired with courage and self-respect, a lesson only the harshest betrayal could teach. The lessons of Stoicism, expanded and detailed. Reeling from the sting of betrayal, Alex found themselves at a crossroads, caught between retreating into cynicism or seeking a deeper understanding of what kindness truly meant. It was then that they turned more seriously to the teachings Dr. Irene had recommended, the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophers. Late into the night, Alex pored over the writings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, searching for answers. The words on the pages were unlike anything they had encountered before, firm yet compassionate, practical yet profound. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." For the first time, Alex saw kindness not as blind generosity, but as a deliberate act born from inner strength. Epictetus' teachings resonated deeply. Kindness was not about appeasing others or being a doormat. It was a form of virtuous action, aligned with reason and self-control. "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters," Epictetus insisted. But the most jolting revelation came from Seneca's letters. He spoke candidly about the importance of boundaries. True kindness, Seneca argued, was about caring for others without losing yourself, about love that preserves dignity rather than sacrificing it. As Alex absorbed these lessons, another painful truth surfaced. Their closest mentor, someone they had revered, had been subtly undermining their confidence all along, feeding into the very fear of rejection that kept Alex trapped in overkindness. This betrayal by a mentor was a cruel echo of the earlier pain but also a catalyst. Stoicism taught Alex that external betrayals were beyond their control, but their response, their inner fortress, was theirs alone to build. With renewed clarity, Alex understood that kindness was not weakness, but a practiced virtue, grounded in courage, wisdom, and self-respect. The journey ahead would be difficult, but now it was framed by a new philosophy, one that promised freedom from the kindness trap. The breaking point, expanded and detailed. Despite the new insights from Stoicism, putting theory into practice proved far more challenging than Alex had anticipated. Day after day, they attempted to stand firm, to assert boundaries and protect their kindness with strength, but the world around them seemed determined to push back. The moment everything came crashing down was sudden and brutal. It happened during a critical team meeting. Alex had spent weeks preparing a proposal that reflected their values, fairness, honesty, and collaboration. But when Alex voiced concerns about certain unethical shortcuts some colleagues wanted to take, the room fell silent. Then came the whisperings, the sideways glances, the subtle exclusion. Worst of all, Alex's once supportive mentor now openly criticized them, calling Alex too rigid and uncooperative. The betrayal stung deeply. The mentor's words echoed with cold finality, undermining Alex's confidence in front of the entire team. Feeling isolated and exposed, Alex left the meeting early, their heart pounding with a mix of anger and despair. That evening, Dr. Irene confronted Alex with a piercing question. Why are you seeking their respect when you don't respect your own values? Alex was forced to face a painful truth. All along, beneath the kindness and the desire for approval, was a deeper struggle, an internal conflict between who they truly were and who they feared becoming if they stopped people-pleasing. This breaking point was not just about others rejecting Alex. It was about Alex confronting the dissonance within themselves. For the first time, Alex understood that respect couldn't be earned by sacrificing their own integrity. The challenge ahead was not only external but profoundly personal, to rebuild their sense of self from the ground up, grounded in authentic kindness balanced by unwavering self-respect. The mirror of truth, expanded and detailed. After the crushing confrontation at work, Alex found themselves retreating into solitude, grappling with a storm of emotions. The silence was deafening, a stark contrast to the noisy approval they had once sought so desperately. It was in this quiet that the mirror of truth revealed itself. One rainy afternoon, Alex sat alone by the window, the city blurred behind raindrops. Their gaze fell on an old, worn journal they had inherited from a distant relative, a relative they barely knew, but who had, it seemed, faced similar struggles. As Alex flipped through the pages, They discovered stories of a family history marked by a pattern of people-pleasing, fear of confrontation, and silent sacrifices. The journal spoke of ancestors who had hidden their true selves behind smiles and compliance, only to be forgotten or dismissed. This revelation was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it was comforting to realize Alex was not alone. On the other, it was chilling to see how deeply these patterns were ingrained, not just in others, but in Alex themselves. A profound question settled in Alex's mind. Had they been repeating the same cycle all their life, unconsciously mirroring fears and habits passed down through generations? This mirror, the honest reflection of family legacy and personal behavior, forced Alex to confront the uncomfortable truth that the disrespect they faced wasn't solely from others, but a reflection of their own internalized beliefs. It was a pivotal moment. Alex realized that breaking free from the kindness trap meant not just changing external behaviors, but rewriting the narrative written deep within their soul. With renewed determination, Alex began to see kindness not as a chain but as a choice, one that required courage to break old patterns and embrace a new way of being. Boundaries born from strength, expanded and detailed, armed with newfound self-awareness, and the wisdom gleaned from both Stoic philosophy and family history, Alex began to forge a different path, one where kindness was no longer blind or sacrificial but intentional and fortified by clear boundaries. The first test came sooner than expected. At work, a colleague, used to leaning on Alex's generosity, pushed for help with the project right before a critical deadline. The old Alex would have immediately said yes, but this time, Alex paused. Taking a deep breath, they calmly, but firmly said, "I can't take this on right now, but I can help brainstorm some solutions." The reaction was immediate and telling. There was surprise, even a hint of resentment, as if setting a boundary was an offense. Yet, beneath the resistance, something unexpected stirred: respect. Not just from that colleague but from others, who had silently admired Alex's endless giving yet never voiced it. As days passed, more boundaries followed, declining last-minute favors, protecting personal time, and speaking up when their values were challenged. Each time, Alex felt a mix of discomfort and empowerment, like breaking old chains and stepping into a stronger version of themselves. The most surprising twist came when an old adversary, someone who once dismissed Alex's kindness as weakness, approached with genuine respect. They sought Alex's advice on navigating difficult interpersonal dynamics, signaling a profound shift in how kindness paired with strength commanded attention and admiration. Through it all, Alex discovered a critical lesson. Boundaries are not barriers that separate but bridges that connect kindness with courage. By protecting their own integrity, Alex's kindness became a force that others couldn't take for granted or exploit. This chapter marked a transformation, not just in how Alex was perceived, but in how they viewed themselves. For the first time, kindness was a deliberate act of strength, not a reaction born of fear. And with that strength came a freedom that had once seemed impossible. The cost of courage, expanded and detailed, as Alex embraced the courage to set boundaries and live with integrity. They soon realized that strength came with a price, a cost that was as real as it was painful. The ripple effects were immediate and profound. Friends who had taken Alex's kindness for granted began to distance themselves, uncomfortable with the new assertiveness. Invitations to social gatherings dwindled, replaced by awkward excuses and silence. At work, some colleagues whispered about Alex being difficult or changed, their words laced with judgment and confusion. One evening, Alex received a blunt message from a close friend: "Since you started standing up for yourself, it feels like you don't care about us anymore." The words cut deeper than any betrayal had before. It wasn't rejection, it was the heartbreaking perception that kindness and courage couldn't coexist. That night, Alex sat alone, wrestling with doubt. Was this new path worth the loneliness? Was the respect gained really respect, or simply fear? The temptation to retreat into the familiar kindness that had once masked pain was overwhelming. But then, a line from Seneca's writings echoed in their mind: "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Alex understood that courage wasn't about pleasing everyone, it was about honoring the precious time and values they held dear. With a mix of sorrow and resolve, Alex accepted that standing up for themselves might cost some relationships, but would also make room for deeper, more authentic connections. The cost of courage was high, but the price of silence was even higher. This chapter was a stark reminder that true kindness demands bravery, and that bravery sometimes means standing alone, at least for a while. The shocking realization, expanded and detailed. After months of grappling with loneliness, rejection, and the harsh realities of courage, Alex reached a moment that would forever change their perspective, a moment so profound it shattered their old worldview. One afternoon, while scrolling through old messages and journals, Alex stumbled upon a pattern they had never consciously seen before. The disrespect, the betrayals, the painful distancing, all weren't just external reactions but reflections of a deeper truth. Alex's kindness had been conditional, shaped by an unspoken bargain to gain approval at the cost of authenticity. The real shock came when Alex realized the most damaging disrespect wasn't from others, it was self-directed. They had spent years undermining their own worth, believing that pleasing others was the only path to love and acceptance. This self-neglect had created a cycle where kindness became a tool for survival rather than a genuine virtue. It was a gut-wrenching truth: to be truly kind, Alex first had to be kind to themselves. This epiphany reaffirmed everything. The Stoic philosophers' teachings took on new meaning, not as abstract ideals but as a blueprint for self-respect and genuine connection. Kindness was no longer a trap or a mask. It was a conscious choice rooted in strength, boundaries, and self-love. With this shocking realization came liberation. Alex was free to rewrite their story, not as a people-pleaser trapped by kindness, but as a person empowered by it. The journey was far from over, but the path forward was clear. True kindness begins at home, with yourself. Reclaiming respect, expanded and detailed. With the weight of self-disrespect lifted, Alex stepped into a new chapter, one focused on reclaiming respect, not from others, but from within. This wasn't about demanding admiration or approval, it was about living authentically, aligned with values forged through pain, reflection, and growth. Alex began by rewriting the rules of interaction. No longer would kindness be a currency traded for acceptance. Instead, it became a deliberate act of virtue, grounded in courage and tempered by clear boundaries. At work, Alex addressed conflicts head-on with calm confidence, refusing to sacrifice principles for popularity. Friends who truly valued Alex's authentic self grew closer, while superficial relationships naturally fell away. The silence that once felt like rejection transformed into a space for genuine connection. One defining moment came during a company retreat, when a senior leader acknowledged Alex's integrity and strength in a public toast. It wasn't just recognition, it was a sign that respect earned through authenticity resonates deeper than any forced approval ever could. More importantly, Alex felt a profound inner peace, no longer shackled by the fear of disrespect or the need to please. Kindness was no longer a trap or a mask, but a powerful force that commanded respect precisely because it was balanced with strength. This reclamation wasn't just personal, it was revolutionary. By choosing self-respect and authentic kindness, Alex rewrote the way the world treated them, and in doing so, inspired others to question their own definitions of kindness and strength. The story that began with pain and betrayal ended with empowerment and hope. That true respect is reclaimed from within and radiates outward, changing lives in unexpected and beautiful ways.